If you're constantly watching other traders, comparing your results, and feeling behind, that comparison is costing you more than you realize. Trading is not a competition against other people. It's a commitment to outwork the version of yourself that keeps repeating the same mistake. So today, we're going to be breaking down how disciplined traders focus inward to build consistency without comparison. My name is Chrissy.
And I'm George.
And welcome to Married to the Market. So today we really wanted to talk about outworking yourself. We're focusing on you because yes, we have social media and a lot of people are falling down the rabbit hole of comparing themselves to other people because what do? We scroll, right? And as we scroll, you see people's wins. It's social media, guys, right? And so you're going to see the highlights. 15 seconds does not show you the whole picture of someone. So we have to stop comparing ourselves to other people and learn to be in our own lane. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there are people out there that are constantly like, oh, what's your account size? Oh, like, how much do you trade with?
It doesn't matter.
It should not matter what somebody else has in their account. What should matter is the results. That's all I want to know is the result. Can you show consistency? Can you show profits day in and day out? I really focus on the percentages. I don't care what's in your account.
People always are chasing, though. They're chasing what to trade or what other people are trading. And they're always in that comparison, especially when they first start out, because we get that all the time as far as questions. How much should we trade with? How much do you trade with? And they're trying to compare so they know, well, you trade with that amount, so I don't have that amount, so I can't start trading yet. And that shouldn't be it. It should be built off of consistency. I recommend when you come in, first start trading, trade with a certain amount and stick with that amount until you build the confidence, until you build the right strategy, until you say, all right, I'm comfortable with moving up. A lot of times as new beginners, they'll compare themselves. If they're trading with 500 and somebody's trading with 5,000 and their profits look like, they made 10%, so that's only $50, but that person made $500 on the same trade, they feel some type of way. But you have to think about, all right, your finances is different from other people's finance, but not only that, it's like they might have built a muscle to be able to trade with $5,000. They're not in the game just starting out. While you're just starting out, you want to feel comfortably instead of making a trade with $5,000 and then you have your heart coming out your chest.
And $5,000 for some people is nothing. There are people out here trading every single day with 100K, with 200K. Everybody's account size is different. So I would not even stress that. I would always say, start where you are at. That's really what it comes down to. And you don't need to feel like you're behind or inadequate because that's what some traders are feeling. They're feeling behind or inadequate because they're not on the same level as maybe other people in their group or people that they may know. You shouldn't feel that way. We're in our own race. This is why we're talking about outworking yourself, staying in your lane, right? And stop worrying about, there are people that are like, well, how many times do you trade per week? What do? You're trying to mimic somebody to the T, and what works for others may not work for you because you may be working a 9 to 5. Somebody might be at home and this is all that they do on a daily basis. It's going to look different.
But it's like you comparing yourself, and what people have to realize is you have different type of traders.
Yeah.
You have scalpers, you have day traders, and then you have swing traders.
traders.
So with that, you can't compare yourself. If you're a swing trader, you can't compare yourself to a person that scalps on a daily basis.
Correct.
The swing trader will take less trades,
But bigger
right?
moves.
And most of the times, a swing trader is going to be more profitable, right? Versus if you're scalping, you might be getting those quick wins, those little small wins, but it have to add up. While somebody took, 10 or 15 trades to make $5,000, you could take one trade to make $5,000 because you're swing trading, right? And it takes you 1 week versus them, it take them a whole week of trading, the stress of losing, then have to regain profits, all that stuff. So when it comes to comparison, that's a thief when it comes to trading.
Well, comparison is going to make you rush something you should not be rushing. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. When you compare yourself, you feel like you need to speed up faster. You feel like you need to increase your size faster. You feel like you need to do things faster because you want to get on the next person's level. So you're doing things you shouldn't be doing right away, right? So this is why I'm trying to say, like, it will destroy your consistency.
It builds impatience. Now it's like, all right, you're trying to do so much because the comparison. So you're being impatient. You have
Yep.
to remember coming in as a beginner, even for people that are trading a year or 2 years, they feel like they need to be where somebody is that's been trading for 5 or 10 years. Everything takes growth. For some, it just clicked for
Yeah.
them, right? But others, it took them a while
It takes time.
to get where they at. So when you're here and are someone coming in 6 months in the game, they want to say, oh, you know what? I want to be where that person is right now when they've done traded for 10 years in the game. It doesn't make any sense. That's like even for somebody that's in different type of fields. So if you're talking about mechanics, when you first start out, a mechanic is going to be different levels, right? You might be able to work on certain cars because you only been in a mechanic for a couple months versus a mechanic that's been in the game for 10, 20 years. They're more experienced. They'll see a lot more. They'll experience a lot more. It doesn't matter what field. If you're talking about mechanic, doctors, lawyers, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but it also makes you feel like you need to abandon your plan because you see someone else doing something that's working for them in that season. We wanted to take a quick break and say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Did you know that 80% of the people that are watching this video are not subscribed? And you might be one of those people just as well. And if you are, do us a favor and click that subscribe button and join us on this journey. Watching this video, that means you might be interested in options trading. I'm not sure if this is for you, but I wanted to let you know that George and I have a 6-week mentorship called Married to the Markets. We'll be teaching you everything about options trading and holding your hand throughout this process. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, make sure you pause this video and check the description because we're going to be putting all the information that you need and to see if you're qualified for this. So if this is something that you want, we would love to have you guys in the Married to the Market family. So guys, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. You remember, guys, all strategies work, right?
Oh,
It depends on the season as well. So even though it might be working for them now, it can switch up later. But you go ahead and change your plan trying to get to the fast bag like this person is can trip you up. So us not being consistent, not following our plans, making emotional decisions can cost us in the long term. So if you are swing trading, stay towards swing trading, right? If you like day trading, stay towards that. Sometimes we also over leverage, and that will cause you to blow your account fast.
over leverage is one of the main reasons why people blow their account because
Yeah.
now when you over leverage and you lose, it's going to take you a longer time to get back to where you were as far as your account. That's why I always mention when you first start out, stick with a certain amount and trade with that amount and be comfortable with it. It could be that you're trading with a small amount just to gain that muscle, just to gain that confidence. You don't want to be losing all the time and
You lose
big
your
size.
confidence when you lose
You
all the
lose your
time.
confidence. If you first starting out, it could be as simple as $500 or $1,000 per trade, right? And you build that confidence enough to say, all right, you know what? Let me move up. And it could be just one contract that you trade. And then you build that confidence over time to where now you could start scale up. Now you move from one contract to two contract to five contract to 10 contract. But it have to happen over
Oh,
time.
something that I've been noticing is that sometimes when people trade with one contract, and this is the reason why I'm talking about this because I've seen these with my mentees, you
Mm-hmm.
feel like because you
Yes.
can't scale out or you can't do what other people are doing in the group, first you
Mm-hmm.
feel inadequate, right? You feel like you're behind, but also you hold a trade more and end up losing on that trade where
Mm-hmm.
you were profitable. It's just that you only had one contract.
Yeah.
So because you only had one contract, you didn't take your money. But guess what? If you would have sold that and then the next day sold and the next day, it's all about compounding over time. Be okay with taking your profit regardless if the trade runs because that trade can pull back. And then you would have wished that you would have taken your percentage. I don't care if you have one contract, you treat it the same way. Yes, there might be people here trading 20 contracts or 30 contracts. That has nothing to do with you.
Because if you make a trade, you use $500 on a trade, and you make 10% on that trade within a couple minutes, you just made $50 in a couple minutes,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Sometimes second.
now, with that happening, like, why is like when people see $50, they might think, oh my God, it's just $50.
But
The
do they
re-
make that at work in an hour?
And that's what people have to realize. It's
No,
the
we
it's
have to
the
realize that.
greed of it. Because they might be at a job right now that they're only making $20 an hour, but
Yeah.
they just made $50 within a couple minutes.
Yeah. But
And
won't take that.
they don't see that. They don't see that. They don't see that they just cut out 2 hours of work. If they build that consistency, they're getting closer to replacing that job.
The whole thing of this season, why we came up with this series, was to make people become more disciplined. Because when you're disciplined, you actually focus on things a little bit different. In regards to your execution, are you actually getting in on time? Did you set your alert? Did you look for the retest? Did you get in on time? Did you get out on time? Did you put your stop loss? Did you get out? These are the things that I'm talking about of being consistent and to being a disciplined trader in this season, because it's all about following our rules.
Just following rules, right? You start trading, you should have your rules that you're saying, all right, if it
We
breaks
talked
this
about that in a
level,
previous
yeah,
podcast.
if it breaks this level, I get in the trade. This is my take profit. This is my stop loss. You have rules in place to where you say, all right, I'm not going to trade if this happens. I won't trade if there's news in the next 15 minutes. I'll wait till after news. If FOMC is today, I'm not trading till after FOMC because I don't want to get chopped up. There's different rules that you could create for yourself, but don't break your rules, because when you break your rules, you're breaking your account as well.
And then your emotions, right? Just checking yourself, figuring out, is this a day for you to trade? Not every day is a trading day. That's my group. There are
Yeah.
some days where I say, hey guys, I'm not trading today. But if you are considering trading, here are the plays for today. You have to realize, is it a day for you? If I got things to do, my kids are sick, or I have somewhere to go, I don't want to be trying to force a trade. It's better for me to sit on my hands and keep my money in my pocket than to give it back to the market. Because trust me, the market is always looking for some change, okay? That's just not something that I want. I want everybody to be very disciplined. And that is something we have to focus on, just being consistent every day. A lot of the people in the group are now, since we started this series, they're more disciplined now because they're like, hey, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to take my profit. When I say I'm going to get out, I'm going to get out, because no matter how good the setup is, no matter how good the scenario may seem, you can still lose on that trade. And if you don't have enough time to allow this trade to play out, you definitely finna lose on the trade.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes in trading, you can have things set up, but the news can come in. The president can speak, randomly tweet something, and then boom, there goes the market. Anything can happen, right? So just be disciplined in what you're setting out for.
Another thing is learning from your mistakes. If you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, I mean, where's the learning part in that?
Yeah.
You're not learning anything. So the journal part is making sure that you're reviewing your trades, but also when you review them, you're learning from your mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of times people just want to see the good part of trading, but then when the bad part happens, they're like, let me just try to get another good trade to replace the bad trade. But what did you do bad that end up making you lose or lose that much? Did you move your stop loss? Did you enter a trade when you shouldn't have? Were you chasing? All these things you have to look at and learn from your mistakes so you don't end up blowing your account.
And that is all us outworking ourselves. Has nothing to do with the next person next to you. I trade with my husband. We trade all the time, but I don't try to outdo him. I leave him in his lane, he leaves me in my lane, but we trade together, but we don't do that comparison. We have friends, we have family that trade. That has nothing to do with me. I'm going to sit down at the end of the night and I'm going to back test. I'm going to figure out what went wrong in a particular trade and how can I improve. But like you said, journaling is what helps. Understanding, could I have waited for the first 5 minutes? Could I have waited for the first 15? Sometimes if you wait the first 15, you'd be safer. But that's beyond that. It's figuring out, where did I go wrong? The key word is I, not anyone else, but just you and yourself. We have to have that reality check that we are outworking ourselves this season. If we want to get to where we want to be, we got to work within ourselves. There are some things that sometimes you need to heal from in order for you to be the best trader that you can be. Maybe there's baggage that's holding you down. Maybe just other things that you need to work in on your personal life so you can get ahead.
Yeah. Just like we talked about before about being impatient, learning from your mistakes, it's now just going to be the opposite, meaning that you have to improve on your being patient. You just have to improve on that. So you're not chasing, you're not rushing or anything like that. Now, as far as refining your plan, you got to refine your plan every single day. Look over your plan and make sure that it aligns with what you're trying to accomplish. When you get up in the morning, what does your morning look like before you start trading? What does your morning look like? Is your phone on do not disturb? If is your phone on, social media, you're scrolling while you're trying to trade. That's not a good regimen. That's not anything good, a good recipe for good trading. So with that, you have to make sure that you're refining your rules and have strategies in place so that you don't make those mistakes.
Yeah, you don't need to trade more. That's not how you make the money. You need to review better. You need to review everything constantly. I don't care if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever time you have, you need to review better because you can swing trade and make more money than the day traders. But it's because of the review and you're taking it to where it needs to go and you're buying yourself time on the contract. You don't have to be in and out. Preferably, I don't like to be in and out. That's why we swing trade, right? My section, his section day trade. But I love swing trading because it allows less stress on my nervous system. I put in my trade. I know where I'm going. I know where my stop loss is. I don't need to trade more to be profitable. That's crazy.
And you have to think about this, guys. When you're trading different assets, so if you're talking about options, you have to just make sure that you have time on your contract. You can't say you're swing trading, but you're buying same day contract.
Yeah.
Or you're buying the same week contract. Swing trade, you have to buy at least 2 to 3 weeks out for swing trades. Preferably, if you're trading, I always tell people if today's Monday, you want to buy at least 2 Fridays out. So literally, you're buying 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
When you're talking about futures or forex, that's a little bit different. You have your stop loss is in place, and that's it. You just let the trade do what it's supposed to do. If it hit your stop loss, it hit your stop loss, but that's about it.
Yeah, this whole reset that we're doing is about you becoming someone that you trust. And when you start to trust yourself, then over time, you make better decisions. Then over time, you can increase your sizing. You can do stuff because now you trust yourself. You have learned to become someone that knows how to get in fast. You have learned to become someone that knows how to take profit. The biggest one is knowing when to get out, is to your stop loss, right? So you trust yourself in the market now. You have the confidence. I don't want you guys to get cocky, but the confidence where you feel at ease when you get into a trade because you understand what you see and what your setup is, right? So in the final episode of this series, we have been going weeks strong. We started this last year because we wanted to get everybody prepared for 2026 to become profitable traders. First of all, thank you to all of you guys that write on these videos and let us know how much the podcast has been impacting you and helping you as a trader. People are just DM us and say, man, this is really making me more of a disciplined trader. And I just want to say shout out to you. Keep going. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Right? So in the next episode, we are going to be talking about moving in silence and letting your results speak. You don't have to broadcast for all your friends and family to know what you're doing or where you're at. Sometimes it's okay to be quiet, low key. If anybody knows me, they know that's how I am. I'm low key. I don't be outside loud and crazy. Trust me, your girl be moving, but I am not loud. We're going to talk a little bit about moving in silence. If that's something that you guys want to know more about, click subscribe. Follow us, go back on. There's tons of videos in the podcast library. Married to the Markets is the podcast. Come on over to the Discord. So if you are a married couple and you also want to trade with George and I, you already know how to trade. We have live call outs. We offer mentorships for people that are getting started and want to have a strategy and understand candles and risk management. But we also give guides. George and I are constantly giving resources so everybody can win in this season. Comment below and say you're outworking yourself if you really are outworking yourself and you're not watching other people, okay? Stop minding other people. Drink your water and mind your business this season. With that being said, we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.